So there's one thing that I've been thinking of as I have met so many people who studied in China, which is that it more depends on students' attitude than actual China in some way, because two people with different attitudes can have like a completely different experience of the same place,
Mm-hmm.
even the same university, even the same dormitory. For me, when I came to China, I was just like so excited and interested in everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
was really open-minded when I first came about everything. And I was just like doing many activities and just meeting lots of people. And I think there's a lot of students like that who have very interested in positive expectations.
Yeah.
And then there's some students that might have happened to this, like when they first arrive in China, maybe they arrive at a certain time, which is not convenient for the
Mm-hmm.
university to receive students, and they go straight to the dormitory, and then it's like 2 a.m. and then they just basically have a difficult arrival. And then that I remember one student who just arrived at that time, had trouble getting into dormitory, and then basically went home straight away. And I
Mm.
think it's important for students, like in that case, it's for example, it's important students check into a hotel before they go to the university so that they can arrive in working hours. There's cases where students have different mindsets of China, and then it completely affects their experience in China. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's important to have an open mind and positive expectations, because if people are kind of anxious, it makes more anxious things happen. If you're kind of smiling and excited, more people are kind of excited to see you, and you see that back in the world as well. I think that's a really big lesson, because when people move to a new country, it's like biggest change that you can have is like going into a new environment. You can really see how your attitude affects the world when you're in a new environment. So I think that's quite interesting. We want to try and share with students like this kind of attitude of how important it is to have that attitude of like being open-minded and trying to give them the tools to meet the right people, and to if some situation happens that's challenging, it's like a part of the journey, and it's like to see it in a positive way, and it's like not a big deal. You can overcome it. It doesn't really matter. Whereas if you have a positive mindset, so it's just having the right mindset is just so important, I think, when you're moving to a new country to
Mm-hmm.
get the most out of it.
Yeah, because it can get like overwhelming, right? With all the changes and then all the differences between what you know and what is happening in the new place. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
important to like take it slow, but also at the same time, try to be more understanding of the new situation and everything.
I think the key thing is to make sure to go out and meet people and do activities, and to be
Mm-hmm.
open-minded, I think, is the key thing, isn't it? Try and help other people.
That's right. Having friends would definitely help, especially if, let's say, your friends, like people who have lived there before, so they can also share
Yeah.
you some top tips and tricks to, like, to get around or maybe to deal with the shock that you are currently facing or how to actually enjoy your time better in the new place.
Yeah, so that's why we do our best with the introducing students to each other, and we have the group where we put students in touch with each other, and then we have the arrival guide. Do you have any tips for students when they arrive in China?
So I think before you arrive, it's also important to do a lot of research about China so that you can have a certain expectations, right? In terms of maybe the language, just learn some short or like some common phrases to help you get around. Or you can also do some research about the weather, which I think is very important, especially coming from a tropical country myself. And it's important to do all this research before you come so that you can have a certain expectations on how it will look like. Although it's not going to be 100% like what your research may tell you, but at least you have some sort of understanding in the beginning. And then other than that, make sure to arrive within the registration date. Like those procedures are very important for you. The university will also help you with the visas and everything. And visas is extremely important because you're a foreigner in a foreign country. So make sure to do it properly. Yeah, just do all the steps, like do all the necessary steps, like buy SIM cards, like open a bank account to make your life easier in China. And actually, we have all of this information in our ebook. So we have created an ebook. It's called Moving to China Guidebook for International Students. And then it's accessible on China Admissions website and it's free. They do not need to pay anything to download the ebook. Yeah, and yeah, they just need to I think they just need to maybe access it from our website, and then they can just download it right away. It has all the information for you on what you need to do before coming to China and also after you arrive in China. And that also includes some of the tips or like also information about transportation system in China or about payment.
Do you have anything else you'd like to share that would be helpful for students here thinking about China?
Just try to enjoy every moment that you have because, like I was there for my master's program for 2 years, and 2 years just went by very, very fast. When you first come to China, you might feel like, 2 years seems pretty long, or like 4 years or even 6 years when you do your MBBS programs, it looks very long. But trust me, it's going to just pass pretty quickly. And then just try to enjoy China and all of your experiences there. Try to make a lot of good memories, but also study your best because you come there for studying. So that should be the main important aspect of your life in China, which is to try and do your best. And also universities, a lot of them, they have a lot of good resources for international students as well. I think it's good to, to utilize them to also make connections and, like network with other international students or professors, so you can stay in touch with them even after you graduated, after you leave China. You can still have friends in all over the world, which I think is getting more and more important. After coming to China, I can see people are coming literally from like every parts of the world. There are countries that I've never heard before. A lot of countries I've never visited before. So you can actually make friends from like literally all over the world.
Something that I found in China is that because everyone from outside China is facing the same kind of challenges of trying to understand it, everyone feels connected. Regardless of where anyone is from. Like if someone is from Russia or Africa or South America, like you all feel like you're going through the same process, so you kind of feel connected to everyone, which is quite an amazing feeling to feel like everyone is quite connected.
And that's why I think it's also important to like have the opportunity not to just learn from Chinese cultures, but also like the other cultures from like your friends as well, from your circles. I think that's really important as well. I know some people who help each other with their Chinese, but they're both foreigners. But just because like the other person do not speak English very well, so the only language that can connect them is Chinese language. So they tried to communicate in Chinese, and they ended up, like improving both of their Chinese language like much, much better.
I found that as well, that I think some people who don't speak English, they learn English really well when they're in China. Yeah, it's amazing. I think there's a lot of opportunities now. I think the main opportunity now is to get a really great education in China at some of the top universities. And then there's a lot of opportunity to get to know, because it's a huge economy, it's the second biggest economy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity to find work experience, to learn Chinese there, because you're going to be surrounded by Chinese people. I think that's something that I've seen a few people do, and they've really benefited from it. And it can be a great option.
Yeah, definitely. I think also when they are still at the university, they have to also get out of their comfort zones. A lot of universities, they have like student clubs or organizations that you can actually join, or extracurricular activities. So you can play, or you can, let's say, play sports with Chinese students, or you can also join some student clubs with Chinese students. I think those are also an opportunity to connect and have more Chinese friends, where you can actually, like try to practice more of your Chinese language skills so you can improve them as well.
Great. Awesome. That's been great talking to you, Nadia. So,
sure. Yeah, it's nice talking to you, Rich. It's nice talking about all this admissions update and life in China.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Have a nice day.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Goodbye.